let's talk about Jimmy Valent's Memphis days. What do you think about that, and were you a fan of it during that time?
Run that by me again. Jimmy Valiant's Memphis days.
Yeah.
Oh, he was one of the biggest draws in Memphis. Jerry Lawler needed him as much as he needed Joe LeDuc, as much as he needed more than he needed Ken Patera. Hogan was only in for a shot or two once he became Hulk Hogan. But Jimmy Valiant was a constant draw. If the houses were down, you brought in handsome Jimmy Valiant. Houses were down, you bring in Joe LeDuc. Because Lawler and Dundee were the mainstays. There really wasn't anyone else that you could bring in to work a program. I mean, you could bring them in for a one-night deal like Dick the Bruiser or the Sheik or somebody like that. But as far as to bring them in and run a program with you, I don't know who else it would have been. There was Jimmy Valiant. There was Joe LeDuc. I might be leaving somebody out that drew big money when they came in. But if you wanted a guaranteed sellout, let Jimmy Valiant be gone for 6 months to a year and then announce grudge match, Jerry Lawler, handsome Jimmy Valiant cage match at the Louisville Gardens. You better get there at 6 o'clock at the box office. You ain't getting a ticket. You know, there wasn't no internet to buy your damn tickets on back then. You showed up at the box office. And the box office, the show would run at 11 to noon. And then the box office would open when the TV show went off. And fans were down at the Louisville Gardens at 12:05 getting their goddamn tickets. Mm-hmm. I think they're doing housework upstairs. I'm hearing hammering up. You know,
who did that?
I got stop hammer time. I've got a hammer here, and I'm not hammering anything. That's all right.
Who did the I think hold on, who wants to know this? Marshall wants to know who did the pick behind you of King B.
That was done by Simon Williams, who also did he's from Wales. He's a Marvel Comics artist, and he did the King B picture. He did oh well, I'll tell you what, got more artwork of his sitting right here in front of me. He did my t-shirt. That's the Russo version. There's also a Cornette version. Mm-hmm. It's also on my wall in the back. Yeah, you can see it over my shoulder in the background.
Yep.
He did that. And I don't think he did this shirt. I think actually, I don't think I speak to the guy that did this shirt anymore. But I
had that logo for a long time.
Yeah, I've had that a long time. And Simon just started doing my artwork about a year or so ago. So, yeah, I don't think I speak to the prick that made this shirt anymore because he's a Brian Lash ball sucker. But I like the shirt. So what do you do? So you know what? Let's talk about the summit for a little bit. We won't go real long on it, but it is worldwide news. Yep. And let me explain to you why this shouldn't have happened. Because Trump's, well, no other president could have done this. No other president would have done it. And because this opportunity was brought to Obama, and he said no. I'm not going to meet with this fucking murderous cocksucker, which that was a pre-cocksucker, and then the cocksucker before him, which was his dad. And then before then, it was grandpa. But Trump is fascinated by these people because a family is getting, because trust me, if he could get Donnie Jr. in there after him, and if he could get Ivanka after that, or vice versa, he would do his goddamnedest to do it. And we went through that a little bit with the Bushes. We had the family regime there with the Bushes, and we almost had it with the Clintons. And I really, in retrospect, don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, I would have took Hillary over Trump, obviously. I'd take Daniel Spencer over Trump. Shit, what am I talking about? But no,
that would be an interesting run.
It would be an interesting draw as to how shit would be going right now. But this is why you don't meet with people like that. And I'm going to break it down in a wrestling scenario. There used to be a wrestling, well, I'm not going to call him a wrestling promoter, but he called himself a promoter. And I ain't even going to say his name because that's what we shouldn't have done with Kim Jong. When we started saying his name, we gave him too much validity. But there used to be a guy who considered himself a wrestling promoter that did that hardcore bullshit wrestling here in Louisville. I even worked there for a few months, but I refused to participate in the hardcore shit. And I did it as a favor for an NWA representative named Dennis Corluzza, who's no longer with us. And he asked me if I would represent him at these shows when he couldn't do them, which I did for the better part of about 6 months. And so I eventually went away because I didn't want to be associated with the stupid shit he was doing. Jimmy didn't want to be associated with it. Danny Davis didn't want to be associated with it. And so he trashed us all the time, and he wanted to do mixed promotion ideas, and he wanted to have feuds and then be worked into our television show. And he had one that lasted about 3 or 4 weeks, which I was on. And
basically, he had a rotten television show, right?
He had a rotten television show. It was just rotten.
Rotten.
And I should fire you for even doing that. But it was very bad. So he would always talk about us, trash us, we're the shits, even though he tried to work with us forever and ever. And once it was evident that wasn't going to happen, he spent his entire career trashing us. And you know how we handled it? We never acknowledged his presence. We never said a word. We didn't send wrestlers to his shows. We didn't go have meetings with him. We didn't let him in our shows. We didn't let him be a part of our shows. And because doing so gave validity to what he was doing. And so that's why we did not even mention his name, didn't let him, and there goes a bomb bucket. We're talking about Ian Rotten, and I'm comparing him as to why. Now there I said his name. Throw the headphones on. Join me on this for a second. I gotta go pretty quick. All right, just move that. And you can give your perspective on this too, Chris Bolin, ladies and gentlemen.
The Prince is in the house.
I got to give you a mic. That is mic. Is that mic 4? I think it is. All right, now talk.
Hello. Can't hear shit.
I can hear him. He's live.
He's plugged in. You got to plug. All right, let him plug his headphones in, folks, and because I'm just
like the shirt, Prince.
Thank you, Collar and Elbow. Always giving them a good shout out.
Little Pookie's on show.
We're about to take her for a walk. She's pretty sick. So what were we talking about, Ian?
I was comparing Ian Rotten and why we did not give him validity, why we wouldn't mention his name, why we wouldn't meet with him, why we wouldn't participate in with shows for the same reasons that we shouldn't have met with Kim Jong-un. Because we gave him validity. We gave him what he wanted.
You're wrong. I think Kim Jong-un shouldn't have met with us.
Well, you might be right there, too.
Somebody just called him Kim Jong-un. So that's kind of interesting.
Well, that
all I can say is that if Kim Jong-un's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, was still running things, it would be a much better world, and Donald Trump probably wouldn't be our president right now.
But that was...
I got to go take the dog for a walk.
So but that was why that we didn't go to Cuba for, God knows, 80 years, I guess. That's why we didn't go to North Korea. That's why we didn't go to Russia. That's why we didn't do all these things, is that it gives them validity. So once we did, don't forget to bring my leash back. You taking 2 cow too?
No, just her.
Just her? Where's your leash?
I don't know. We couldn't find that on short
notice. Somebody wants Maya to make an appearance. Is she there?
Maya, they're wanting you to make an appearance. You want to say hi?
No.
All right, there you go. You got one out of her anyway. She fell for it. She spoke. God,
we heard her voice.
Yeah, 2 cows trying to leave with them. They just come down here and cause trouble. And there you go. That's why this is not a professional show. You'll never get one here. But that is why we shouldn't have met with him, because now he's got what he wants. He got validity. He's now been seen with the big dogs. So now his people think he's a big dog. They'll have all the pictures, all the shaking hands, complimented Trump. Trump thinks he's smart. Trump thinks he's a great guy. And this is a great guy that has executed 340 some odd of his own top people because they didn't agree with him. Starved millions. There's hundreds of thousands in prisons right now starving to death, being starved and in essential being murdered because they don't agree with him. Trump loves that shit. That's why he blows the balls of Do 30 down in the Philippines. That's why he blows Putin. And once Putin to make it the G8 instead of the G7, which is now the G6. And I don't know that Trump can count to 6, 7, or 8, but he's impressed because he thinks he can. And
do you think who do you think?
But fascinating. So he pisses off our 6 to 7 top allies, and it blows Putin, blows Trump, blows Duterte, and then you got him. So he's fascinated with the dictators. But those of us that have actual elections every 2 to 4 years and try to get bad people out of office, which we haven't succeeded at yet, but we're going to. That's what he wants to be. He wants to be. He even joked around in China. China's his other buddy. So he loves 4 or 5 dictators, including himself, but seems to hate our allies. He starts shit with Canada. Over because they just think that he was being a bit of a douche and a crybaby. He showed up late. He showed up late for breakfast, and then he left early. Yeah, he really took the G7 seriously, didn't he? So because he wanted to go, and he didn't have to leave that early. He went down there and sat around for 3 days with his thumb up his ass, waiting to actually meet with Kim, little Kim. And he didn't have to get there that early, but little Kim got there early, and he goes, and he's a rock star. This man has murdered God knows how goddamn many people, and they're blowing him all over Singapore. So Singapore is just as stupid as anybody else is out of this. And yeah, world peace is nice, and it's great to accommodate that, but you don't go down there and give away more than you get. And he did, because now he's saying that they're not even going to work with South Korea in the war games, as he calls it. Well, that's how you keep your people sharp and have them knowing what they're doing. It's like having Aaron Judge of the Yankees say, well, you know what? Hell, I got this baseball thing down. I'll just play during the playoffs. I ain't even going to play during the regular season. Well, guess what, folks? That shit don't work. So, and it's far more deeper than that. That's just breaking it down from a simple basis of why you do not validify people of this nature. You don't give them the time of day, and they come crawling on their hands and knees begging to you, and hey, we're not going to kill our people anymore. Hey, we're going to get rid of all our nukes. And I don't know that he totally understands that. So that's about as political as I'll get into it this year. But that is why you don't recognize these lesser promotions, these hardcore fucks that want to be a part of what you've done. They want to be a part of your hard work and be seen with you, so they can be considered part of you and on your level. And it's exactly the same thing with dictators trying to get the rub from decent folk like Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, Germany, which was all over there together, Australia. And we've pissed off every fucking friend we've got so that he can go lick the balls of evil dictators. And I don't care if you like Trump or not, that ain't the fucking way you do it. And it's going to cost us in the end if we don't get him out of there soon. I know there's a lot of people out there, oh, this is great, world peace. Yeah, my ass. That world peace shit ain't worked in 60, 70 years with them trying to make that happen. Trump ain't the first one that got a bullshit promise out of them. So we'll see. As Trump says, we'll see. That's a great fucking answer and a great defense. So enough politics on that. We'll do that another night. But that is why you don't recognize these fucking lesser wrestling promotions that are trying to get a rub on your hard work, do that hardcore shit, and try to fucking have piranha matches and barbed wire matches. Great. If that's what you want to do and you got 50 people that want to come and see it, go ahead. Just do it somewhere to where the state allows it to happen. The state of Kentucky doesn't. And don't try to draw a crowd off what we do. That's because we're not going to participate with it. We're not even going to acknowledge your name. And never in 17 years did we ever mention his name on television. Never happened. And that's exactly what Trump has done. He's now mentioned Do 30 on TV. Do 30 kills people down there all the time. Has a reward put out for anybody that kills not only drug dealers, but drug users. Drug users are sick. Drug dealers are the criminals. So he's trying to get the drug dealers off too. But if you use drugs, he has you executed and has a reward put out on you. How would you like it if Trump did that? Your brother's addicted to painkillers and Trump has him killed. I'm not so sure that ain't part of Trump's plan. I mean, he is a sick fucking individual. Him and Pence both got some sick shit in their head. I mean, when you're fascinated by Trump, by dictators, and you want to stand by dictators, you are a dictator, or at least a dictator wannabe. And I don't know, guys. I can't figure out why 28% of this country can't figure that out. The other 72% of us did.